What if I told you that the pain in your legs, the swelling in your ankles, even that deep fatigue you feel when you wake up, might not be your age, but your dinner? Yep, the very foods you've trusted for years, the ones labeled heart healthy, low fat, or light, could be quietly hurting your legs and even damaging your kidneys. Night after night, without a single warning sign. Most people over 65 chalk it up to aging. Oh, my legs hurt because I'm getting old. I'm swelling because I sat too long. Or, maybe I just didn't drink enough water. But what if the real reason is right there on your plate? I know that sounds surprising, maybe even a little unsettling. But hear me out. After 65, your body changes a lot. Your kidneys become more sensitive, your blood vessels less flexible, your metabolism slows down, and your ability to recover, especially overnight, gets weaker. And here's the kicker: what you eat at dinner matters more than ever. Not just for digestion, but for how your legs feel when you lie down, how your feet swell by morning, and how well your kidneys get to rest and reset. In this video, we're going to expose 6 common dinner foods, yes, foods that might be in your fridge or pantry right now, that could be doing silent damage to your body. Some of these are classics. Others are promoted as healthy. But once you understand how they affect circulation, inflammation, and kidney strain, you'll see them very differently. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to empower you. Because the good news is, every single one of these issues can be reversed. You don't need to give up flavor or live on bland food. You just need to understand how your body reacts now and make some smart swaps. So if you've ever had leg cramps that wake you up at 3 a.m., if you've ever wondered why your feet feel twice their size after dinner, or if you've been told everything looks normal on your blood work, but something still feels off, then stick around. This might be the video that finally connects the dots. Let's protect your legs, your kidneys, and your peace of mind, starting tonight. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked the sodium content in your healthy dinner? Because for millions of older adults, especially those over 65, dinner might feel comforting, but it could also be quietly making your legs swell and your kidneys work overtime while you sleep. Let me tell you about Margaret. She's 74, a retired teacher from Indiana. Sharp mind, kind soul. She's the kind of person who still reads the label on everything and avoids junk food like the plague. No fast food, no chips, never adds extra salt. In fact, her dinner routine looked textbook healthy: a bowl of vegetable soup, a light frozen dinner, maybe some canned fruit or a few crackers with low-fat cheese. Sounds pretty safe, right? But over the past year, Margaret started noticing that her legs would swell by bedtime. Her calves felt tight, her feet heavy. Some mornings, she struggled to even get her shoes on. She thought it was aging, maybe circulation, maybe just normal, until she brought it up at a senior health workshop, and everything changed. A nutritionist looked at her meals and did the math. That veggie soup? Nearly 700 milligrams of sodium. The frozen dinner? Almost 900. The canned fruit? Additives and preservatives that contributed even more. Altogether, Margaret's dinner packed over 2.000 milligrams of sodium in one sitting. That's the entire recommended daily limit, and she was hitting it all at night. When the body is supposed to be winding down, not battling fluid retention. Here's why this matters. As we age, our kidneys become less efficient. They don't flush out sodium as easily. That excess sodium causes your body to hold onto water, which leads to swollen legs, stiff feet, and added pressure on kidneys that are already slowing down. And if this keeps happening night after night, that's when you start waking up tired, sore, and inflamed, even if you slept 8 hours. But here's the good news. Margaret made a few simple changes. She started cooking her own soup using low-sodium broth and fresh vegetables. Swapped the canned fruit for fresh berries. Checked labels before buying light, frozen meals. And within just 3 weeks, the swelling in her legs eased. Her sleep improved, and she had more energy in the mornings. The lesson here is simple. Sodium hides in foods that look and feel healthy. Soups, frozen dinners, canned, light options. And when you're over 65, that hidden sodium isn't just a number, it's a nightly burden your body doesn't need. So, the next time you reach for that microwave meal or heart-healthy soup, pause, flip the label, ask yourself, is this helping my body heal, or forcing it to work harder overnight? Because when you're aging gracefully, every small choice counts. Let me tell you a quick story about Joe. Joe's 72. He spent most of his life working construction. And even now in retirement, he still carries himself like someone who could lift a toolbox with one hand. He's proud of his strength and proud of his appetite, especially when it comes to steak. For Joe, dinner meant something solid, a juicy ribeye, some mashed potatoes, maybe a few green beans. It wasn't just a meal. It was a ritual, something that made him feel grounded, strong, in control. But over the last year, something started to shift. Joe began waking up in the middle of the night with stiff legs. His calves ached, his lower back felt tight, and sometimes he'd feel a sharp pinch right behind his knee or hip that made it impossible to fall back asleep. He thought maybe it was arthritis, or just the cost of getting older. But the tests came back normal. Nothing seemed wrong, until he spoke with a dietitian, and they connected the dots. You see, red meat like beef and pork isn't bad in itself. In fact, it's rich in protein, which we need more of as we age. But timing matters, especially after 65. Red meat is dense, high in saturated fat, and takes hours to digest. When you eat it late in the day, your digestive system and kidneys don't get to rest. They're stuck working overtime long after you've gone to bed. That means instead of using your sleep to recover, rebuild muscles, reduce inflammation, heal tissues, your body is still breaking down food. And for your kidneys, processing all that protein creates extra waste, like urea and nitrogen, which they have to filter, precisely when they should be repairing. The result? Morning stiffness, restless legs, that weird tension in your lower back or calves that just won't go away. But here's the thing, Joe didn't have to give up the foods he loved. He just had to rethink when he ate them. He started eating red meat earlier in the day, around lunch. That gave his body more time to process it while he was still active and upright. At dinner, he switched to lighter, kidney-friendly proteins, grilled salmon, lentil soup, or roasted chickpeas with veggies and olive oil. Within just a couple of weeks, Joe was sleeping through the night. No more 3 a.m. leg cramps. No more tossing and turning. And that morning stiffness? Almost gone. So let me ask you this. Do you ever wake up feeling sore, even though you slept all night? Does your back, your legs, or your hips feel tighter in the morning than they did before bed? If yes, it might not be your mattress, it might be your dinner. Red meat isn't the enemy. But when eaten too late, it becomes a heavy load, not just on your plate, but on your body. Try flipping your routine. Enjoy that steak at lunch. Save your evenings for something lighter, easier to digest, and just as satisfying. Your legs and your kidneys will thank you in the morning. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt a strange burning or tingling in your legs at night, but your doctor says your blood sugar's fine? And there's no sign of diabetes? That's exactly what happened to Carol. Carol is 70 years old, a retired bookkeeper from Georgia. She's sharp, careful with her health, and never really had a sweet tooth. No cakes, no candy. She even avoids soda. Her meals? Mostly home-cooked. Nothing extreme, just simple, wholesome food. So when she started feeling a burning sensation in her legs at night, and a weird numbness in her toes, she was confused. Her tests were normal. Her blood pressure looked good. No diabetes, no nerve damage. So what was going on? The answer was hiding in something she never suspected, her sauces. Every evening, Carol would add a little barbecue sauce to her grilled chicken, or a spoonful of ketchup on the side. Sometimes, a light, honey mustard dressing on her salad. These little touches made her meals feel satisfying, a way to enjoy flavor without adding sugar. Or so she thought. But here's the truth. Many common sauces, even the ones labeled low-fat or heart-healthy, are loaded with hidden sugars and sodium. Barbecue sauce, teriyaki glaze, ketchup, even salad dressings, often contain high fructose corn syrup, preservatives, and salt that sneak under the radar. And what happens next is something most people don't talk about. These ingredients trigger inflammation, especially in the tiny blood vessels, the ones in your legs, feet, and kidneys. Over time, this low-grade inflammation makes it harder for blood and oxygen to flow properly. The result? That burning, tingling, or heaviness you feel in your lower body. Carol had no idea. She thought she was doing everything right. But once she spoke to a nutritionist and took a closer look at the ingredients list on her sauces, it all made sense. The fix? Carol started making her own simple sauces at home. Olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, a bit of vinegar, and herbs from her garden. She found a no-sugar mustard she loved. Even made a basic tomato sauce with fresh tomatoes, 0 added sugar. Tons of flavor. And the difference? Within just 2 weeks, the burning in her legs eased. Her feet stopped feeling numb in the morning. She had more energy. She felt like herself again. Here's the big takeaway. You don't need to give up flavor to protect your health. You just need to choose it more intentionally. So the next time you reach for that squeeze bottle of sauce, just flip it over. Read the label. If sugar is one of the first 3 ingredients, or if the sodium is sky high, consider a better alternative. Because when it comes to your legs, your kidneys, and your long-term health, even small ingredients can have a big impact. Your body is talking to you, through that discomfort, that tingling, that tightness, and once you learn to listen, you can start making changes that bring real relief. Carol did it, so can you. Have you ever woken up in the morning with legs that felt like they were made of stone? Not exactly painful, but heavy, tight, and kind of disconnected from the rest of your body? Let me tell you about Harold. Harold is 76, a retired firefighter from Ohio. He's active, sharp, and probably healthier than most men his age. He walks daily, stays hydrated, and doesn't touch fast food. But there was one small ritual he loved, and it nearly robbed him of his energy every morning. Every night, around 8:30, Harold would settle into his recliner with a comforting plate, a few crackers, a couple slices of cheddar cheese, and a cold glass of milk. It was his way to wind down. A simple reward for a day well lived. But lately, something had changed. Each morning, Harold noticed his legs felt stiff and swollen. His toes would go numb. He had trouble sliding into his shoes. And the weird part? It would go away by mid-morning, only to return the next day. His doctor didn't see any major red flags. Blood work looked okay, no signs of neuropathy or circulation issues. But Harold knew something wasn't right. So he started digging deeper, and that's when a conversation with a nutritionist at his local senior center opened his eyes. Here's what he learned: cheese and milk, especially when consumed late at night, can quietly disrupt your body's recovery. See, while dairy is rich in calcium and protein, it's also high in saturated fat and sodium, both of which can slow down blood flow and put extra pressure on your kidneys. Saturated fat can clog up small arteries, making it harder for oxygen to reach your leg muscles. Sodium causes fluid retention, so instead of recovering overnight, your legs swell and ache. Combine both? It's like asking your legs to run a marathon while you sleep. And for someone over 65, your body just doesn't bounce back the way it used to. That swelling and tightness? That's a signal, a gentle warning that your circulatory system is struggling to keep up. The good news? Harold didn't have to give up his nightly ritual. He just needed to tweak it. He swapped out cheddar for a softer, lighter goat cheese, easier to digest and lower in sodium. Instead of cow's milk, he started drinking unsweetened almond milk. And most importantly, he moved his snack to an hour earlier, giving his body more time to process it before bed. Within 2 weeks, the heaviness in his legs was gone. He was waking up more energized, more mobile, and still enjoying the little routine he loved, just in a smarter way. Here's the lesson: it's not about cutting out dairy completely. It's about timing, type, and balance. When your body is trying to rest and repair, loading it with heavy, hard-to-process foods can throw everything off, especially in your legs and kidneys. So if you've been waking up stiff or swollen, take a look at what you're eating and when. Because sometimes, the quietest habits have the loudest effects on how we feel. And as Harold discovered, a small change can lead to a powerful difference. Have you ever had a night where your legs felt like they weighed 100 pounds? Not from a long walk, but just from lying in bed? Let me introduce you to Eleanor, a warm, sharp 71-year-old retired school secretary from Illinois. She's the kind of person who always took pride in keeping things simple and healthy. Dinner was never anything fancy, just some grilled chicken, steamed veggies, and maybe a small slice of white bread or a scoop of rice. Sounds harmless, right? But every night around 3 a.m., Eleanor would wake up, not from noise, not from dreams, but from a strange sensation in her legs. Tingling toes, heavy calves, sometimes a sudden jolt, like her muscles were protesting something. She tried stretching, changing sleep positions, even extra pillows. Nothing worked. And her mornings? Exhausting, like she hadn't truly rested. Her doctor ran all the usual tests. Everything looked normal. It's just age, they said. But Eleanor wasn't convinced. So she did something powerful. She started paying attention. She kept a food journal, tracked her meals, her sleep, and within a few days, a pattern emerged. White bread, white rice, pasta, simple carbs, easy to digest. Right? Well, maybe a little too easy. Here's what was happening. Refined carbs are stripped of fiber and nutrients. That means they turn into sugar almost immediately once you eat them. At dinner, that spike in blood sugar gives your body a quick jolt of energy, but then it crashes just a few hours later. And that crash? That's what was waking her up in the middle of the night. It also caused insulin fluctuations and extra pressure on her kidneys, which were trying to balance fluids while her body was supposed to be resting. No sugar, no dessert, but her so-called light dinner was acting like one. Sneaky, right? But here's the hopeful part. With just a few smart changes, Eleanor turned it all around. She swapped her white bread for sprouted whole grain toast, replaced her white rice with quinoa or brown rice, and added a handful of leafy greens to her plate. Not a big deal, but enough to slow digestion and keep her blood sugar stable through the night. Within 10 days, her sleep improved dramatically. No more waking up with heavy legs. Her energy in the morning returned. She didn't feel foggy or achy, she felt alive. What's the takeaway here? Refined carbs might look innocent. They're soft, comforting, familiar, but especially after 60, they can wreak havoc on your blood sugar, your kidneys, and your sleep. And it all starts with what's on your plate at 6 or 7 p.m. You don't have to cut out carbs. You just need the right ones. Whole grains, fiber-rich veggies, foods that support your body instead of draining it. Because at the end of the day, or more importantly, at the end of the night, your body deserves peace, not a roller coaster. And sometimes, peace begins with a simple swap on your dinner plate. Let me ask you a quick question. What do you usually drink after dinner? A glass of red wine to relax? A sweet iced tea while watching TV? Maybe a little fruit juice. It sounds healthy, right? Now, imagine this. You're asleep. Everything's quiet, but suddenly, your legs cramp up. Or you wake up with an urgent need to pee. Your lower back feels sore. And when morning comes, you're exhausted, even though you got your full 8 hours. That was Richard's life. He's 75, a retired accountant from South Carolina. Calm, steady, and proud of keeping a simple, balanced routine. He didn't smoke, he stayed active, and every night, he'd wind down with either a small glass of red wine or a cold glass of sweet tea. It was part of his routine, familiar, comforting, and silently making his nights worse. Over time, Richard started waking up multiple times every night, either to use the bathroom or from sharp cramps in his legs. His sleep quality dropped, his energy tanked, and his lower back began to ache. At first, he blamed age, maybe even his mattress, but the real culprit? It was in his glass. Here's what most people don't realize. Alcohol, even in small amounts, acts as a diuretic. It makes your kidneys work harder to flush fluids, leading to dehydration by early morning. And dehydration is one of the top triggers for nighttime muscle cramps. Now let's talk about sweet drinks. Sweet tea, flavored waters, packaged juices, they might taste refreshing, but they flood your system with sugar. This leads to blood sugar spikes, inflammation in tiny blood vessels, and, you guessed it, extra pressure on your legs and kidneys while you're trying to rest. These effects don't always hit you right away. They sneak up, slowly. One night, it's a little leg tightness. Then more frequent bathroom trips. Then backaches and restless sleep. Until one day, it just feels normal. But it's not. And more importantly, it's fixable. Richard didn't want to give up his evening ritual. And he didn't have to. He just made smarter swaps. Instead of wine, he started sipping on herbal tea, chamomile, cinnamon, even a blend with a hint of ginger. Instead of sweet tea or juice, he drank infused water with lemon slices or cucumber. Hydrating, kidney-friendly, still relaxing. Within 2 weeks, the difference was clear. He was sleeping through the night, waking up refreshed, and the cramps that used to jolt him awake? Gone. So if your legs ache at night, or your kidneys feel tired, even when you're doing everything else right, look at what's in your cup after dinner. Because sometimes, the smallest habit is the one quietly draining your energy, sip by sip. You don't need to give up comfort. You just need to give your body the kind of comfort it actually needs. So, let's take a step back for a moment. Over the last few minutes, you've learned something most people will never hear from their doctor. That 6 common dinner habits, the ones that seem totally normal, could be slowly harming your legs and kidneys. Especially after age 60. But here's the truth that I hope really sticks with you. You don't need a strict diet. You don't need to throw out everything in your fridge. You don't need to be perfect. What you need is a few small, smart shifts, done consistently, and at the right time. It starts with something as simple as this. Check the label. That, low-fat frozen dinner. It might be hiding 900 milligrams of sodium. Move your red meat to lunch. Let your kidneys rest at night. Swap that sweet tea for a soothing herbal drink that hydrates and heals instead of drains and dehydrates. These aren't extreme changes. They're gentle nudges, in the right direction. And here's the best part. None of the damage is permanent. The swelling in your legs. The fatigue in the morning. The tightness that sneaks in overnight, all of it can begin to fade. You can feel lighter again. Stronger. You can sleep deeper. Wake up with less pain. And maybe, just maybe, you'll enjoy mornings again. Because even one pain-free morning is worth the effort. Even one good night of rest, where you don't wake up twisting your legs or feeling sore, it matters. And it's never too late to make that change. So if you're still here with me, thank you. That tells me you care, not just about your health, but about your future. And remember this, you're never too old, too tired, or too late to feel better. You still have the power to make a change, and your body is listening. Let's keep moving forward together. If this video helped, go ahead and subscribe. There's more support, more stories, and more practical tips coming your way, because you deserve to feel good in your own body. Stay strong, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Before you go, I've got a special health gift I'd love to share with you. On this channel, I share simple, effective health tips, all based on real scientific research and practical, everyday experience. And if you'd like to receive a free gift, it's super easy. Hit the subscribe button, comment below, claim my gift. I'll send it straight to you. Don't miss out, because your journey to better health starts with small choices just like this one.